Bobcat Bobbies are here for you when you need them most. If you feel threatened or are temporarily disabled, call a Bobcat Bobby at 512-245-SAFE.
It's an early start for volunteers today as they head down to the San Marcos River. They are doing this because they are participating in the annual river cleanup in San Marcos. The cleanup crews meet at specified locations where they're handed trash bags to pick up the garbage they find. Some are on foot and others are in canoes to pick up floating trash in the water.
Typically, if it's a nice day, we'll have up to 20 canoes on the river. And we're cleaning up the first 2 with this group, and downstream they'll be cleaning up with other groups.
It's the love of the river and the desire to preserve the waters that push everyone to clean up today.
To me, it's more of a feeling of giving back something to the earth, because without us, we're the guardians, and we should do a little bit better job.
Well, I feel it's just part of my duty to spend time volunteering.
Longtime San Marcos resident Tom Goins has been cleaning the river for more than 20 years, and this year he coordinated the efforts.
I started paddling on this river in 1967, fell in love with it then, and I've just, I feel like I've got to give a little something back.
Because of the volunteers who made this event possible, San Marcos residents will be able to enjoy the river a little more. For Bobcat Update, I'm Ben Godson.
The San Marcos Outlet Mall is a great place to shop, but for those who work there, they don't have a lot to spend. They have to keep their shopping to a minimum. They simply can't afford much. Alexander Delgado has been working at the outlet mall for more than 2 years, and he doesn't have much to show for it.
I guess it depends on the hours given and the responsibilities of the employee, but for the most part, I think the minimum wage is far too low. And $7.50 is still too low.
Low wages apply to more than just entry-level and seasonal workers. Wages are also low for managers.
Not as much as I would have hoped after 3 years of working at the same place. As a key holder working full-time now, I had hoped that it would have gone up a little bit, and they're not really giving me much incentive to stay much longer.
Some shop owners regard student workers as dispensable. It's fairly easy to find replacements when employees move on, and those who stay for a while say that they don't see much reward for their loyalty. For Bobcat Update, I'm Ben Godson.
I've always been in a religious family, but for me, I was never necessarily religious. I never had a relationship with the Lord. Church was one of those things you just had to go because your parents went, so you went as well. But I never really had an actual understanding of what it was to actually have a relationship with the Lord and trust in the Lord. I went to college on the East Coast, a little D3 liberal arts school. It was interesting. The ideas of religion and Christianity, for the first semester, I was pretty good with it. Like I was wanting to make sure I was a good example, but that deteriorated quickly. It was drug, sex, and alcohol were a big part of that culture. Now, granted, I was very good at putting on a facade. I was still maintaining a good GPA, was highly involved in school, and I was overall seen as a really good kid. Professors liked me, parents liked me, teachers liked me. But you're living your life one way during the week, and then on the weekend you're a whole nother animal. I was very self-centered. I was doing everything for me and only me, without really having the thoughts of any repercussions or what could happen, or how my life was so not correctly centered. I came back to Austin. I got a job here in Austin. I was still maintaining the lifestyle like I had in college, though. So I was a hard worker, Monday through Friday. But on the weekends, I would still, go out and have a good time. And I guess at one point, I ended up spending a night or so in a holding cell at downtown. I was facing some pretty serious things, but at that time it was strange because that's when I felt the presence of the Lord. I felt the hand on the Lord in my life, and for the first time, and the first time ever, I actually had a conversation with the Lord. I felt the presence of the Lord and knew that the Lord had me, and I had the Lord. So that following Sunday actually I went to church there, and I really broke down in church that time, just recognizing how far astray I had gone from the path, and how disappointed I was with myself, and how kind of sad the Lord must have been for me. And then so I started really praying about that. All right, recognize my friend group wasn't what it needed to be. I really had no clue. I was a newborn Christian. I had no idea what to do. And then that prayer was answered with the table. On Tuesdays, the table started for 20, 30 somethings. It's a nice recentering because you're so focused on your work and your life outside. Sometimes you do lose track of where the Lord fits into that. For me personally, having the table on Tuesdays allows me to kind of refocus that energy and really focus on the God aspect of it and forget about myself and focus on the God aspect of it. Everything needed to happen the way it had happened, so I got the message through and I actually opened up that communication line. Literally, it was a kick in the face, and it was a complete wake-up call. And I consider myself very lucky for having that because the Lord is just so real to me. Like the way I felt in that cell and how He touched me was indescribable.